1, 2, 3, 4. What up, y'all? It's your boy, Jermaine Event, Babylon 5 Podcast, episode 26. How are you guys doing? How are you doing? It's been an interesting week, to say the least. Quite interesting. Happy to be here with you. Happy to be here with you guys. Thanks for being here. If it's your first time, welcome. If it's not, if it's your 26th time, what's up, bruh? What's up? Thanks for rocking with me for so long. I appreciate it. I really do. Once again, I'm going to give you guys the social medias. If you want to follow the Instagram or the Twitter account for the Babylon 5 podcast, it will be at Babylon 5 Pod. If you want to follow my personal accounts, it's at my name's Jermaine. You can email the podcast at babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can follow the podcast. You can listen to the podcast also at babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to the podcast on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, pretty much anywhere podcast stream. If you want to play me on Xbox, you want to play some games, my gamer tag is SauceBoss414. If you want to check out the merch, buy some socks, maybe a t-shirt or two, you can check the merch out at teesprings.com/store/babble-on-podcast-shop. And I'm trying to figure this out. I don't know. I'm showing my age here. It seems, I'm only 30, but I've never done these things before. I'm trying to set up the Twitch. I did a game. It emailed me the stats on my app. It said that I was playing, but there was no stream. There's no video there. I see my stats. It says I was live for as long as I was, but my friend who follows me, he didn't see anything. He didn't get a notification. So even though there's stats for the stream, like no stream appeared. I'm trying to work something out here. But you can go ahead and follow me on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Babylon5. Go ahead and eventually I'll be playing some games, Just trying to play with you guys, if you know what I mean. Just trying to play with you guys. This past weekend, the lovely wife and I, it was Valentine's Day. We went and saw the movie Downhill. All right, I saw that it was just coming out on Valentine's Day, and it's like, why not? Let's just go see it. It's starring Will Ferrell and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She was Elaine in Seinfeld. If you don't know the name Julia Louis-Dreyfus, you're not gonna know Seinfeld. So I don't even know why I would need to throw that. If you know one, you're gonna know the other. You're not gonna know one without knowing both, is how I feel about Julia Louis-Dreyfus. But before the movie started, I'd say all the trailers were real hot. And I was like, all right, is this going to be... I was like, I felt this way about Knives Out. I don't want to, put this on there and put that energy in here. I'm just going to enjoy this movie. I'm like, but these trailers leading up to this movie are seeming like they're geared toward a certain audience. And, but then Nick Kroll had this weird, Olympic bodyguard... I'm trying to figure out, what event this girl is participating in, because, I'm pretty sure those are, young teenage girls, but he's doing this weird, we're, falling in love situation. And I'm like, Nick Kroll, I don't know if this is what you want to be doing with your life at any point. I don't know. It just looks kind of weird. This movie seems kind of weird on the surface. I don't think a real nigga like me was supposed to be in that theater seeing trailers like that anyway. But I don't know if this is what my nigga Ruxin, if we watching the league, that's where I best know him from. I don't think this is how you should be spending your time, my nigga. That movie looks weird as fuck. I don't know what it's called. I don't want to see it. It looks fucking weird. Starring Nick Kroll as like a weird Olympic bodyguard pedophile motherfucker. Didn't look funny. It just looked weird. Starring Nick Kroll. Weird ass movie starring Nick Kroll coming soon. So that's before we saw Downhill. I watched the trailer. I was at work the other day, and I was watching it at work, trying to watch it. And at first, I was like, the first time I watched it, I was like, wait, that doesn't look funny. And then I said to my wife, I was like, are you sure? Like, because I had texted her, like, yo, we should go see it. And then I watched the trailer. And then I was like, oh, shit, I don't know. And then when I saw her later, she hadn't seen the trailer yet. So I was like, oh, let's watch it real quick. Just to, like, I was like, I didn't really get a good look at it before. And so when we watched it again, I was like, oh, that seems kind of funny. You know, it seems like it'll be pretty funny. So we check it out. I don't think it was a comedy. If that movie was meant to be a comedy, I don't think I received it well. My wife said she thought it was pretty weird. I thought it was just a pretty odd movie in general. Spoiler alerts here for Downhill. We're gonna have to. I thought it was a relatively short movie, but so what happens? So Will Ferrell and plays a character who's married to Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and they have 2 kids. They go on a ski trip. Will Ferrell's character's dad had recently passed away, and I think that's one of the reasons why they went on that trip. The place that they're at, there's like these controlled avalanches that they have planned out throughout the day to get rid of like snow buildup. I don't know. It's just a weird ass movie. I don't really understand, but like at one point they're at the resort where this is happening, and the avalanche comes, and the family, the mom and the 2 kids are on one side of the table, and the dad is like, oh yeah, there's nothing to worry about. Like, nothing's gonna happen. There's nothing to worry about, and it's getting closer and closer. And people, at first, they're like, they have their phones out, they're filming, and it's getting closer. People are starting to get scared. People start to run, and he's just like, no, it's fine, it's fine. And they sit there, and then eventually, like, it's getting real close, and she, like, the kids are screaming, and she, like, grabs them and covers up, and, like, he grabs his phone and, like, runs, and yeah. And then the avalanche doesn't kill them. They just all get like covered in snow. And he comes back, and they just see like that he ran and left them. And then like they were at a restaurant, I guess, outside, and the waiter comes up and says, "Oh my God, are you guys all right?" And he's like, "Yeah," and I'll have the soup. Like, he just orders his soup like nothing happened. And I don't know, like, people were, like, laughing throughout the theater, like, pretty much whenever Will Ferrell's character would speak. And I'm just like, this shit ain't funny. Like, at one point, like, the wife is, like, trying to talk to him. Like, yo, something happened out there. We need to have a conversation. And he, like, texts his friends to, like, come over, like, behind her back, and tried to lie and say that they just, like, showed up. And eventually they start to talk about, like, what happened, because they mentioned that his friend mentions that he texted him to come over. And she mentions that the avalanche happens, and that she's sitting there with the kids, and they're screaming, and she's there, like, ready to die with her kids. And they look up and, like, see that, like, she sees that her husband had already grabbed his phone and abandoned, like, ran away from them. And, like, she's telling this story about being afraid for her life, and people are laughing throughout the theater. And I'm just like, am I am I crazy here? Or is this not funny at all? Like, she's telling her, like, this is like a real powerful ass, like, story. Like, holy shit. She's really describing the emotion of feeling like she and her family are about to die, or like together. She's about to die with her children. There's nothing she can do. And people are laughing throughout the theater. And I'm like, man, these people are just simply laughing because of who these people are. There's nothing like comical happening. There wasn't anything comical happening. It was quite interesting. Um, so this happened. It was just like they just kept mentioning that they saw the husband, the dad, like run off on them, and he's just trying to like he was just trying to pretend like it didn't happen at first, and then like saying that like she was overreacting, and he was just like, how can I run in snowshoes? Like, see, it's like parts like that where they were trying to make it seem comical, where he kept saying like, can you run in snowshoes? And people would be like, not well, and he'd be like, exactly. Like, how could I run in snowshoes? And I'm like, man, this thing is crazy. If that was a comedy, it's just definitely not my kind of comedy. But it's just this whole reoccurring theme of like, he didn't give a shit about his family. Like, he took the kids to the kid resort that was like not too far from where they were at. They were at an all adult resort for some reason that he took the kids to instead of the kid resort. And then like he eventually got kicked off one of the rides because he was like somehow going faster on his whatever this ride was and bumping his son who was in front of him, like terrorizing his kid. Like, it's just a weird ass movie. Like people are laughing and I'm just like, what is this? What the fuck are we watching? Like, not like that. Like, it wasn't like it's bad. It was just like, this shit's weird. Like, this ain't a comedy. This is a dude like who's either like has like really bad mental problems or like he's like having a crazy mental breakdown right now. Like, something's off. And it kind of like resolves. The movie ends with like this dumbass feel good ending. Probably one of the worst endings I've ever seen, where the wife just like pretends to get stuck on a ski hill, and Will Ferrell's character comes to her, find her, and she's like, I'm doing this so that you look good in front of your sons. And if you want me to change the way I see you, I look at you, then show me something different. But like, so then he pretends to like carry his hurt woman down from the hill so that he looks like a hero in front of his kids after like abandoning them like the one time, but then there was like a second time where there was another like explosion planned avalanche thing where like the mom went to hold on to the scared children and he just like stood there staring at them. It was just like weird moments like that, like that kept happening right up to like that last moment there happened about 5 minutes before the ending where she pretended to get stuck on the hill. So that happened like 5 minutes before that. It's a pretty fucking weird movie. It's called Downhill, and I think it was all downhill from the start of that movie. You got me. Joke's on me, I would say with that. The other day I was pretty bummed out. As I spoke on this podcast, and if you follow the Facebook page, I was very openly supportive of Andrew Yang. He recently dropped out of the presidential race, unfortunately. You know, and to be clear, I haven't really, like, just to clear up some things, because I don't know if anyone's listening to this that saw this conversation on Facebook that got a little dicey. I admittedly went a little far with some of the things I was saying, all true, but I didn't need to say. They weren't needed to be. It didn't need to go where I took that, so I apologize for that. I was watching the Who Killed Malcolm X, this docuseries, and I was watching. They asked Malcolm X about Kennedy, and when he said what he said about Kennedy, I was just like I was in such shock. I was like, it didn't need to be said, and I was like, oh shit, let me take this down. So yeah, I took that down on Facebook. But so I just want to be clear. I just want to clear up a few things here. I haven't really voted since I think the first time that in a presidential election. I haven't voted in a presidential election really since Obama ran the first time. I voted for Obama. And then I became disillusioned with the whole thing once Obama was in office. And once I started to look more into it, I was like, fuck. You know? And then I technically voted the second time. I went to the polls. I put in a vote for whatever the third party was. Because for me, I guess paying attention, I'm like, let me vote. Let's hopefully enough people vote Green Party. I don't know who the candidate was. I just voted for that third party because for the same reason that I support someone like Yang, to have a third party in there, you have to have that third voice here, that third set of ideas. And if those ideas there are appealing, then even if the majority of the people are listening to this asinine narrative of, oh, they can't win because we said they can't win. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can't win in a race, blah, 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 because I said they can't win in a race. If you stick to that narrative, then, yeah, then there's the only reason that you would need that third party there is to push the progressive ideas there. If the third party there still can't win, but this person is saying, I want this and I want to do that and I want to do that, and everybody's like, yo, we support those ideas, then over here on this side is going to be like, oh yeah, we'll do that too. Like, I'll do that. If you vote for me, I'll do that. You know what I'm saying? That pushes the conversation forward. So that's why I voted third party the second time, but I, didn't really vote for anybody. I don't know who I voted for that year. I didn't vote in the last election, presidential election. So yeah, I didn't vote. I was leading up to that last election, I was into Bernie Sanders at first, and then, things played out the way they played out. So I can't support Bernie Sanders going forward. So, as for me, and I feel this way for everybody, I see a lot of people online who they'd be like, yo, man, you have to vote, blah, 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 blah. You got to have your voice heard. I've seen this post, going around, and it really bothers me, man, this idea. Because I'll see some of you guys, and it's like, you have no idea. I remember the one guy posted about, I saw this one guy. He posted about how Bernie Sanders said he wanted to legalize marijuana, and I commented Yang Gang, and he commented LOL or something on it, and I was like, you're laughing, but Yang has been talking about this the whole time, while Bernie Sanders hasn't. And then someone else commented he's trying to pretend as if we didn't see that Bernie has been openly against legalization this whole time until now. He was against it. But guess what? Andrew Yang was there, and Andrew Yang, out of nowhere, had so much support, and he'd been talking about it. And he was getting a lot of support. So guess what? Now Bernie's like, yeah, guess what? I'll do that too. I'll do that if you vote for me. This is what I'm talking about. I think the way a democracy is set up, if we're actually looking at it, if we're talking about presidential elections here, to say that the narrative makes any sense, that when they say, oh, this person can't actually win in a race like that, if you say the Green Party can't actually win if you, like, in a real election, but it's like if you look at the way that democracy is set up, all it takes is for you to actually believe in something. It takes for you to believe in something and stand for it. And if you believe in what the Green Party is saying, and you and every like-minded person, if they shut that narrative up and they actually go out and vote for that person, then you actually change the narrative. If you put that support toward what you actually say you believe in. You can't say, it's insane to me how many people I would hear say, dude, I like Yang, but like this, blah, 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 blah. He's running, he can't do it in this time. Like this idea, he's trying to pass this idea, but we already like can't get this idea off. And it's like, I remember last week I was talking to the guidance counselor at MATC, and we were talking about like these narratives people get in their head, with everything people have told you in the past of like why something can't be done. All that fills up your head and psychs you out of doing something that you would probably excel at. And I say that's what that is here. You heard that same narrative of it won't work, it can't work, blah, blah, blah. And you just hear that. And it's like, no, put that support there. Don't worry about like how it's perceived. Don't worry about how it's perceived. Just put that support there. That's how I feel about that. And just change the fucking narrative. That's how the system works. Don't, like, just fucking block out that narrative. That's literally how the system works. So, I'm not here for this whole, this side versus that side. It's never, that part of the argument, it means nothing. The same people that say that will complain that there is no real parties, that they're all controlled by corporations, yada, yada, yada. The same people that'll make that claim will still say like, yo, you need to do this because we have to get this side out of the office. But it's like at the same time, you're like, but they're all controlled by the same people. So what the fuck are you talking about? We need to push progressive ideas. This should be the main point. Democracy. We're actually trying to push forward progressive ideas. It's not about good versus evil. It's about us. At the end of the day, it's about us. It's not good versus evil. It's us. It's whatever's best for me. It's whatever's best for you. It's whatever's best for the people over there, people over here. It's always been us. It's not about this side winning and that side losing. I can't get behind that whole narrative. That's not what I care about. I don't care about which clubhouse gets to write the rules today. That doesn't mean anything to me. It's like us, people. What's good for me over here is great for everybody, like the world. It's people, man. It's us. It's not about your clubhouse. It's not about your clubhouse. I could be wrong. This is my thing. I said recently, right? I said I'm not voting in a presidential election. I'm not voting because, one, the only person that I had really looked into that appealed to me, really, was Andrew Yang. I'm not in the Bernie Sanders for a lot of reasons. What's her face? Warren hasn't appealed to me. I like the Buttigieg. I think he's out. I don't fuck with Bloomberg. Like, are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? So it's like, for me, I personally feel like for the most part, and I think this would be very responsible for many people who are claiming, hey, you have to vote, blah, blah, blah. I feel like I'm not educated enough on the people who are here to actually make an informed decision on it. I'm not going to. I'm not going, because I'm not playing a part of your narrative where this clubhouse that gang has to run the clubhouse. Like, I don't play into that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think it would be pretty irresponsible for me to just pick a side based off of sound bites. I don't know. Based off of peer pressure. That's not too responsible. And I think a lot of people should either take the time and really look into what they're voting for. Really look into everything, man. Like, it's not about this side beating that side. There's a lot of shit that goes into it. You can't. I remember this lady, she came into my house to try to sway me to vote for Hillary. And the thing that really bothered me about that old lady the most was, like, there's just so much out here. And it's like, if you're trying to, she kept saying to me, people keep saying, like, all these negative things about Hillary, but I've never heard one thing. And it's like, well, either you're being openly ignorant because you have a smartphone in your hand and you can, at any second, just research all the negative claims people have. You'll see them in a second. We don't need to have this conversation. But when you come to my house and you say these things to me, I think you're a lunatic. I think you're a fucking lunatic. And this is what I'm saying. So, Bernie Sanders endorsed Hillary Clinton. And if you can look into some of the dirty shit that the Clintons are into, I can't support Bernie Sanders for a number of reasons. All right? And I think it's hilarious that Hillary's out here like, nobody likes him. Nobody likes that motherfucker. Fuck that nigga. I love it. I love it. So I think for me, because the only person whose policies that I looked into, I'm like, damn, this nigga's dropping some shit. This nigga's spitting. You know what I'm saying? Was Andrew Yang. Yang was spitting on the campaign trail. Yang was out here spitting. I don't rock with Sanders. I don't rock with nobody. So I think it would be best for me not to vote in a presidential election in 2020 because I just don't give a shit about who's in the office. I think we should just do it over. All right? How about we call a mulligan on this one and we get new guys and we do it again in 2021? Why not? Why not? Who says we can't? We have a fucking amendments of things. We could do it. What if I don't like either of these people? Get that guy out of the office and let's just get let's shake it up. Let's put their names on dice, on each side of the dice. Let's shake it up. And we pick your fucking running mate. Like, we're not doing these games anymore. We just put names in a fucking hat, dice, whatever the fuck it fucking takes. We shake that bitch up, and that's how we're going to do it in 2021. Why not? I don't know you fucking names until you fucking throw them out there. I'm Cory Booker, and I'm running for this shit. It's like, oh, I didn't know this nigga existed. But now he's running for president. I hope he has a nice speech. So, I don't know. So I'm just not going to vote. All right. I think that's the responsible thing. Maybe you niggas is like, oh, maybe the responsible thing to do would be actually to do some research, but I'm not. I don't care. Not gonna do it. It's not gonna happen to me. Cause I'm all about us, you know? And them niggas is not about us. I don't vibe with Warren's energy. I don't vibe with her energy at all. And I don't vibe with Sanders. So, yeah. I can't do it. You want to talk about some real shit? Let's talk about something that actually matters. UFC Rio Rancho. This nigga Diego Sanchez took on Michel Pereira. All right. So, this is an interesting fight. This was the co-main event, which was like it was the fight I was most interested in. Diego Sanchez was the winner of the Ultimate Fighter 1. He's a wild man. He's got all these stories. People say like he'll like roll with him and his finger will end up in their ass just to like fuck with them. He fought Michael Chisea. And Chiseo said he like screamed at him, "Get your finger out of my ass," in the middle of the fight. But what's very interesting with Diego Sanchez is that he used to train out of the same gym as John Jones, but with Jackson Wink in New Mexico. This fight, Rio Rancho, New Mexico. Diego Sanchez in his last fight against Chisea, it was his first fight with his new one-man trainer. He doesn't fight at a camp anymore. He fights with this one guy. And pretty much the whole MMA world was rooting against him because it's just a weird thing where, like, they don't do conventional training. It's, like, more about, like, mental. And they do just, like, a lot of weird shit. And this was his second fight under that guy. One corner man. And the guy was just, like after, he's, like, it's like 2 straight rounds of Pereira. So Pereira, his last fight, Pereira, he danced all the way to the ring, doing these high fucking crotch chops. Crotched it. That's why I called that episode Crotched It. So he's doing all these high-ass crotch chops, and, yeah. That's why I called that episode Crotched It. And this nigga, he's doing it again on his way to the cage this time, but when this bell starts, he's like 3 times the size of Diego Sanchez. Diego Sanchez looks like he's honestly in the worst shape I've ever seen him. Pereira's power, like when he lands like a punch on like his chest, like punches him in his chest, and like Diego like flies to the cage. It was like insane. And like Diego would do this like hand out force field weird kind of thing, kind of force field stance thing, and just get destroyed within the stand up by Pereira. It was a real odd fight, and then toward the end of the 3rd round, Pereira's looking for a finish. He's lighting Sanchez up. And Sanchez, like, goes to the ground, and Pereira knees him in the head, unfortunately. Cuts him open, and Sanchez is like, "Oh, no, it's illegal. He's gonna get disqualified, right?" And then the ref's like, "Yo, can you go?" And he's like, "No, he's gonna get disqualified, right? It was illegal, so he's gonna get disqualified, right?" And he's like, "Can you continue?" And he's like, "Nope, can't continue because it was an illegal hit. He can't continue. I can't continue. It's an illegal hit." And Diego Sanchez, within like just getting destroyed, getting embarrassed in that fight, like says, "Nope, I can't continue." It's like he's not the same Diego Sanchez. I feel like the real Diego Sanchez would have never took that route out. You know what I'm saying? He got destroyed out there. Didn't really put up a fight at all. Kept putting his hand out to do some weird force field. He just got destroyed. He looked terrible. He needs to go to an actual gym. And to take the victory that way, that was some hoe shit. He got destroyed that whole fight. and was like, nope, I can't continue. It was an illegal hit. What happened, Diego Sanchez? You used to be a fucking warrior. Stop going out there, bro. You're too old for it now at this point. Or at least go to a real gym. It doesn't, like, he's like in this whole beef with Jackson Wink. He even said leading up to this fight, this will be the showcase that Jackson Wink is nothing. And it's like, yo, you got to get over that whole thing. And even if it is an anti-Jackson Wink thing, then go train with ATT or something. Go train with some real team, not some random dude you found on, like, Instagram. Because you're paying this dude, and he's just taking your money. And you're looking silly on national TV. And you are already in the UFC Hall of Fame. And you're looking pretty crazy out there. So, I don't know. He shouldn't have taken that easy win, that DQ win, because he could have kept going. But he did. It's pretty sad. I think he should retire. Or go to a real camp. Go to a real gym. Corey Anderson took on Jan Blachowicz. It's a rematch. First time they fought, Corey Anderson knocked out Jan Blachowicz. Corey Anderson took him down, apparently beat him up the ground and pound in the first fight. So going into this fight, like after Corey Anderson knocked out Johnny Walker, he was saying, give me a title shot or release me. Title shot or release me. At one point, he showed up at John Jones' autograph signing and was like saying John Jones was scared of him, ducking him and all this. And yeah, pretty much John Jones says his choices to fight were between Corey Anderson and Dominic Reyes. He went with Dominic Reyes because he felt like Dominic Reyes would be a harder fight. Yeah. So, what else? Yeah, so he showed up calling out John Jones. John Jones chose to fight Dominic Reyes because he felt like it would be a tougher fight. And in the very first round of this fight between Corey Anderson and Jan Blachowicz knocks out Corey Anderson about 3 minutes into the fight and changes the whole narrative. Like, nobody was really talking about Jan Blachowicz taking on Corey Anderson, especially with the way he lost to him the first time. But he was able to avenge that loss, knocks out Corey Anderson, and he calls out John Jones, who was in attendance. I mean, why not? I'd be into seeing that fight. Why not? You know? Either we can keep writing people off before they even get a chance to face John Jones. We can say, like, nobody's on his level. Or we can let the people fight. Man, they're fighters. Like, why not? Let's see them fight. Let's put that style. That fight against Dominic Reyes was a lot better than everybody expected. Like, why not? Put these cage fighters in that cage. You know what I'm saying? Lock it up and let's see what happens. If he beats their ass, he beats their ass. It's what we thought, but fucking why not? You know? Yeah, fucking why not? I just thought it was funny. I don't think it's funny that he got knocked out. He got knocked out pretty, like, out cold. I just thought it was funny because just the narrative going into this. I tweeted out right before the fight that it would be more amusing if Corey were to lose. Because the narrative was just like, it was almost a foregone conclusion that Corey was going to be the next person to fight John Jones. Even before, the Dominic Reyes. The Dominic Reyes choice kind of seemed odd to me, but John Jones said he felt like that was the tougher matchup. And I feel like he was right. He was clearly right. Jan was like, yo, he knew he was going to chase the knockout because he knocked out Johnny Walker in his last fight, and he just kept coming forward and got caught. And I was watching some breakdowns, watching the Weasel, and Corey Anderson would take 2 steps forward and then fire a shot, and that was just like the rhythm he got in. 2 steps forward, throw a punch. 2 steps forward, kick. Like that's just the rhythm he got into, and it was very predictable. And it was like 1-2, and then he would get caught, and that's how he ended up being knocked out by Jan Blachowicz. And yeah, why not? Let's see Blachowicz versus John Jones. I think John Jones, I went and watched the John Jones versus Dominic Reyes match again. So when I was watching it live, I was like, oh my God, I felt like John Jones is going to get knocked out. But I watched it again a few days ago, and I realized that, live, Joe Rogan is screaming a lot during this fight. And he's hyping up a lot of the Dominic Reyes offense. But when I'm watching it, like, just for the second time, I'm realizing that John Jones is dodging pretty much every punch that Joe Rogan is screaming for. Joe Rogan is going out of his mind. And and in the moment, it was really amping me up. And while I'm watching it again, I'm watching John Jones dodge all of Dominic Reyes' punches. And then Dominic Cruz on commentary would say, I just want to say that pretty much nothing significant landed there. And like, I was just like missing that because I'm getting amped up too. But as I'm watching it for the second time, I'm like, dude, this fight wasn't even close. And I'm like, it seems like when I watched it again that pretty much the judge who gave John Jones 4 rounds was like the only one that was really aware of what happened in that octagon. And then when I watched John Jones have a post-fight interview from last night, he was like, after watching the fight back, he was like, I honestly think that I could have won 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm like, dude, exactly. Like, when I watched it back, I'm like, dude, how did he not win all, 4 rounds from, most of those judges? Like, the guy who gave him 4 rounds is the person people are like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, doesn't he run a jiu-jitsu school? He doesn't know what's going on. When I watch it back, I'm like, holy shit, that guy got it right. That guy actually had it right the entire time. And even John Jones was like, yo, I could have won 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's how John Jones himself saw it. And that's how I said I saw it before. You can see the tweets. But yeah, I was saying that's how I saw it before John Jones said it himself last night. So I was like, yeah, John Jones, there's no need for a rematch. There's really no need for a rematch. John Jones dominated in that fight. It just, if you got a little liquor in you and you're listening to Joe Rogan scream, you get a little amped up. And that's what happened there. So let's talk about Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 2, which is coming up next weekend. I'm real hype on that. The other day, Joe Rogan had an interview with this guy, Radio Raheem. So in the lead up to the first Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight, there was the moment where the till this day moment where Deontay Wilder's like, till this day, my people been fighting till this day. And he was talking to this guy, and he's like, Radio Raheem. And the way he said it, I was like, bro, why'd you, try to call this man an Uncle Tom in the way of, calling him Radio Raheem? Like, the way he said it, it was like you were trying to equate the character Radio Raheem to an Uncle Tom. But I didn't know at the time that the guy giving the interview goes by Radio Raheem. But at the same time, ever since that interview, people online just started calling him Uncle Tom's. Said Rihanna, Snoop Dogg, they all calling him Uncle Tom's online, just going in on him since then. And I was always hating on Deontay Wilder for that. But knowing that the guy's name is Radio Raheem, it kind of changes things. He said that, when he was saying to him, yo, what do you mean, Deontay? And he was like, you know what I mean. My people he was like, our people been fighting for 400 years, just going off like he's an Uncle Tom. But, Radio Raheem said he was like, as an interviewer, he was trying to, he's talking to like a European audience at this point because he's fighting Tyson Fury. He's like, I'm trying to get him to explain what he means by the 400 years. Just like talk about it right here because it's a whole audience that's probably never even heard this before. And dude just took it as he was like being an Uncle Tom and trying to bait him into saying something crazy. But yeah, it turned out to be one of the greatest moments in boxing history to this day. To this day, I thought that was pretty interesting, like how it unfolded. He said he didn't even realize that dude was angry at him until like he started to walk away from him. He was like, wait, what just happened here? Like, he was like, at first I thought he was like angry at the man, angry at white people. And he's like, all right, yeah, go ahead. And then he realized, oh shit, what just happened here? Anywho, so that interview happened leading up to next week, which will be Fury Wilder 2. My prediction is that Fury goes in, boxes this Dulcer's face off, and becomes champion, and then he goes and he boxes Anthony Joshua's face off. That's what I'm hoping happens pretty soon here. I think this is going to be a pretty epic fight. I don't think it has the hype on it as the first fight because we don't have a till this day moment. But I think this is going to be a real good fight, you know. All Deontay Wilder is going to do is just try to catch him. I thought it was pretty laughable that Deontay Wilder tried to say that he's going to target the cut on Tyson Fury. It's like, how? When you only throw one punch? You're going to target something when you don't have any boxing skill? He says skills don't pay the bills because all he does is he has that one punch. So how are you going to target the cut when you only have one punch? You're strong as shit, but you have no skills, admittedly. So, yeah. But I'm excited for this fight. I'm going to talk about what happens when it happens. Not necessarily sure who's fighting next week as far as UFC is concerned, if you guys are interested. Ooh, Paul Felder. We got next week Paul Felder is taking on Dan Hooker. I saw Dan Hooker fight here in Milwaukee. He fought Edson Barboza. He got his ass beat. All right, he got his ass beat versus Edson Barboza. Which is interesting about this fight is that Paul Felder's last fight was against Edson Barboza. It was a rematch. And I'm of the opinion that that Paul Felder lost that fight. They gave him one. That's the opinion that I have. They gave your boy one. But I think he might. I think it's 50-50, actually. I mean, I think Hooker has the skills and he should technically be here, but I think that Felder's got that never say die, quit. I mean, never say die attitude. I was talking to my wife, like, I sent her a photo, like, maybe a year ago where this fighter, Paul Felder, he was fighting Mike Perry, and he broke his arm, and he still kept swinging it, this broken arm, and it was just like a picture of him in the ambulance, just, like, covered in blood, and he's got, like, a thumb up. It's fucking badass, but yeah, he fucking doesn't quit. Paul Felder's a monster. So this is going to be a fucking brawl. It's coming from New Zealand. This is going to be a good-ass fight. Dan Hooker trains with my favorite fighter, Israel Adesanya. So, yeah, I don't really care for any. I mean, it's not that I don't care for any of the other fights. It's just that I'm not super excited for any of these other fights, it looks like. But, I mean, I'm going to watch them. I watch all the fights, but you know, because you never know. I wouldn't have this information to talk as I watch and watch more. I can fulfill in with, oh, I saw this guy, ba 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 ba, and then that guy, ba 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 ba, and then I said, bong. You know, I can do that. So yeah, next week we got Paul Felder taking on Dan the Hangman Hooker, Paul the Irish Dragon Felder, if you will. That'll be a pretty interesting fight. A little white on white crime, you know. That's the way I like my coffee. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get up out of here. It's gonna be a short episode for you, just a little bit, of shorter episode, man. You don't need a full hour. I can do a lot with just 50. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I could do a lot with just 50. If you want to follow the podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. If you want to follow my personal accounts, it's at my name's Jermaine. You can email the podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can follow the podcast at Babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to the podcast on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, pretty much anywhere that podcasts stream, you know. Why stress on it? Just search Babylon 5 podcast or just Babylon 5. I'm not sure. I think just Babylon 5. If you want to play with, if you want to add your boy on Xbox, my gamer tag is SauceBoss414. You can check out some merch at teesprings.com/store/babble-on-5-podcast-shop. It's podcast, not dash. It's anywho. You can add your boy on Twitch at twitch.tv/Babylon5. This is episode 26. Thank you guys for rocking with me so much. Yeah. Thanks for rocking with me this long. It's been fun, 26 weeks. Fun week here. I like this episode. I'm just going to keep it just a tad bit short, and I'm going to get up out of here. Hope you guys have a beautiful week, and I will see you next week. Peace.